All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another awesome interview by Geek Vibes Nation. I'm your host, Tia, and I have with me one of my favorite YouTubers to watch. He goes by Joon the King on YouTube. Joon, how are you today?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
I'm doing good. I don't know whether to call you a YouTuber or like a documentarian, because I feel like that's actually what you are.
I mean, you can combine both of them and be like YouTube documentarian. That's kind of like what I call myself. I think it works.
I think so too, because that's really what drew me to your channel was seeing how, first of all, you're putting together these documentaries on other YouTubers, essential like social media. I want to say like not necessarily like pop icons, but people that other people kind of know in the social media culture. Um, and what I can see, you started your YouTube channel about 4 years ago and did a lot different sort of content. So, what inspired you to kind of go in the direction that you're going in now?
I mean, it was a lot of things. It was like a combination of so many things. I think metrics wise, like I was making like gameplay content, RuneScape, it's an MMO. That's the kind of content I was making. And usually, whenever you make that kind of content for that specific game, your channel caps at most 300,000 subscribers, like maybe 200,000, views per video. Uh, there's not much opportunity for growth, but on the personal side, I was just kind of getting bored making gameplay videos, and I wanted to go into a bit more, like I guess, research the
Mm-hmm.
creators I've been following throughout my life, maybe like give people a different perspective on the people I was big fans of. So that's both personal and there's like multiple reasons for it.
Mm-hmm. And so it's funny you say it because like a lot of the people that you do these documentaries on, say Leafy is here, Jenna Marbles, H3H3, these are YouTubers that I've heard of. Like, and I'll say that I've gotten into say H3H3 in the past year, but prior to that, really didn't know who these channels were. So I was going to ask, were you fans of any of the people that you do documentaries on? Like, how do you choose who you do a documentary on?
As if I was fans of them, I'd say maybe 80%. I think I watched Leafy for a period, but then like I kind of like really grew disinterested. Definitely a fan of H3H3. Jenna Marbles here, here and there. Yeah, I think I'm a fan of her as a person, not really that interested in her content.
Right.
As for choosing, I feel like whatever has the most interesting story to me or whatever has the most, I guess, interesting perspective that I can bring, because people have this public image. Let's say H3H3, right? People like, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, hate him because he delved into politics and all these other things. But I like to, like, the reason I made a video about him is because I want to bring the perspective. It's like, hey, look, if you had a podcast like H3H3 did and you had over 300 hours of content, then people would already will like hate you for any like minor thing you said in one of these episodes. So I like to, I guess, bring in what people don't know. So if there's something I feel that people really don't know about a person and they are really, really relevant at the time, so I know the video will do decently, then I'll cover them.
I like that we're kind of on the same page with that because I feel like I do the same thing. Like, okay, obviously you're interested in speaking to people, but you
Hmm.
also kind of sit there, go, okay, what metrics wise is going to do well on YouTube?
Oh yeah, you have to. You have to.
That's kind of the game that you're in. When you're doing these documentaries on these YouTubers, I mean, I have to imagine it takes so long putting these together. How long typically do you take?
So I like to cut it off in different like segments. I'd say the writing and the researching part, I do usually know a bit about these YouTubers, so that I wouldn't call it like I've already delved into them, right? So it's not really like dedicated research. So the
Mhm.
dedicated research, the actual like looking things up and have to be like, okay, like let me skim through all these interviews, whatever, way back machine. I'd say along with the writing takes about 60 hours on average. And
Oh,
the
wow.
editing, I leave that to my editors, which takes another maybe like 60 hours. So, on average, like 120 hours, 100 hours per video.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. It's just it's so like interesting watching your stuff because I feel like they're time capsules, especially when you did Jenna Marbles Jenna Marbles H3 and you're showing the Wayback Machine from say 14, 15 years ago. It feels just like this time capsule. Back then, did you ever have an interest in YouTube? When did this interest start for you?
So I started watching YouTube in around 2007. I guess got a dedicated interest maybe in 2010, 2011 with like, the traditional Call of Duty kind of stuff, just like watching gameplay like CNanners and other forms of content creators that just cover gameplay. And through there, just like got stronger and stronger as I discovered, and many people discovered more creators. So I'd say 2007 started, 2010, it became a bit more dedicated.
Right. Yeah, I remember being in high school when YouTube first started as a thing, and it's crazy that people are actually making livings out of it. Um, any of the subjects of yours, would you say that you're still fans of them, or is there any person that you've done research on that you've kind of now discovered that maybe you're not exactly a fan of anymore?
A lot of them, yeah, easily. I mean, I've done so many videos. I'd say I'm a fan of Ethan Klein, but I am not a fan of the thing, like many of the small things he does. Like I don't know why he makes like such a big thing about Ethan, a bit like the controversial thing within the commentary community is he continually goes after Keemstar, which really only hurts his channel because Keemstar is uncancelable. You cannot cancel Keemstar. And I just don't know why he just keeps going after them. There's like a lot of like parallels alongside them. It just doesn't make too much sense. But outside of that, I think Ethan puts his money worth, like he puts his money where his mouth is, and he does a lot of things for the community that people don't see. So, big fan of Ethan. Ray William Johnson was another turnaround. I thought he was an okay creator before I was doing like beforehand, but then I really started doing research about him. And I figured, like, I found out how malicious he was with his copyright abuse. So, yeah, not a big fan of Ray, I guess.
I was going to say you kind of found that out firsthand. So
Yeah.
you did a recent documentary on Ray William Johnson, who, again, I wasn't super familiar with, which is why I really appreciate your videos because it informs me more. And you even, I think, said in the documentary that you weren't sure if he was going to then copyright strike you. And lo and behold, then it happened. So what's the update with that?
So what I believe happened is Ray leaves these things up to his either like personal company or management company, and they probably just strike any video that might, and any smaller kind of video that looks that might make him appear in a negative light, I'd say. But what he usually doesn't do is he avoids striking content creators who get over maybe, I'd say 50,000 or 100,000 views per video, because last time he did that in 2019, it blew up and a lot of people covered it. Let's see, Keemstar covered it, PewDiePie covered it, got like his video got 9 million views, and that really blew up in his face. So I'm like, okay, I'm in the bit of a larger demographic of content creators, so he probably won't strike my video. And I don't know why, but he did. There's many other videos covering Ray William Johnson, his copyright abuse that haven't been touched, but for some reason his company was not happy with that. But as soon as like I threw a little bit of a tantrum on Twitter, the video was pretty much immediately brought back up. So
I mean, that's good. I was looking at your YouTube channel. I saw that it was up, so I was happy about that. When you're doing these documentaries, especially say like with Ray William Johnson and others, do you get any sort of negative backlash, even from just regular like commenters who say, why are you doing this on someone? Like, do you ever get that sort of negative feedback?
rarely. It's really, really rare. People like never really focus on me. They never comment on like, hey, Joon, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Uh, Most of the comments' attention is usually focused on the creator. Like, I guess the most common negative comment, if you could even like label it as that, is like, who cares? Like, why people watch this? I'm like, I don't know. People just watch it, like, right?
That's how I
But
feel.
yeah, for the most part, it's like, no, I don't really get anything too negative, I'd say.
That's good. That's good to hear because I feel like that would really weigh on someone the more, like the bigger that you get, because certainly your channel has grown throughout the years and you doing this. So it's good to hear that it's not really going in the negative. That way you can continue
Mhm.
making awesome videos.
Oh yeah, that's the plan. I don't know what my next style of content is, but for right now, this is what I like. Even if I didn't like it, YouTube is mostly a job for me, so it's like I'll just keep making videos anyways until I can't, right?
I was going to ask you if you had any idea of who your next subject was going to be, but I do remember, I think you said in the Ethan Klein one that you may do Keemstar. I think that would be interesting only because I feel like now it's like the flip. If you do Ethan, you kind of have to do Keemstar, and it would be interesting, at least for me as a viewer, to see his start as well.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I think Keemstar is next because for me, I feel if I covered like Ethan, like you were saying, the flip, right? I have to cover
Right.
the polar. I mean, like they're very similar, but polar opposite, right? Which is the Keemstar. So definitely looking forward to that. It's going to be an interesting video. At least I think he has quite the story.
Yes. um, you were saying before that you do all this research and everything, and it takes you roughly about 60 hours. And so do you ever casually watch YouTube, or now when you're watching YouTube, are you kind of watching things for research purposes?
It so yeah, doing making these YouTube videos has taken like a lot of the fun off of watching like YouTube. I mainly just stick to like Netflix
Mhm.
or other mediums for my entertainment. But there are a few YouTubers that I regularly watch. I'd say Donkey is one of them. Red Letter Media, Turkey Tom, and a few other channels that I do just check out every now and then. But YouTube is just mainly for research at this point.
For me, YouTube is mainly podcasts. I don't even watch any other, say, YouTube video, and yours, of course. So watching the documentaries that you've done, you did have one instant that seemed to really go in a negative direction with a
Mhm.
content creator called Low Tier
Low
God.
tier God, yeah.
So you made a response where you really
Mhm.
kind of just broke everything down. I think that was the first time I saw your face. I was like, oh shoot, this must be serious. He's getting in front of the camera. So I mean, what has happened since your response to everything that went on with him?
As a catch up, or like, are you asking like what has happened in his wild life, or is in like my interaction with him?
Like your interaction with him.
So I think he has doxed two other people. He redoxed one person and then he doxed someone else. Um, so I went ahead and like posted those kind of things on Twitter. Every now and then I'll like a poke at him because he does something stupid that I'm like, okay, well he doxed someone. I'm obviously gonna like throw this out there. Like he gets his Twitch channel rebanned. I think he recently got his Twitter suspended. So I'm now larger than him on all platforms, which is kind of funny. But
That has
beyond
to
that,
kind of feel good, right?
a little bit, yeah. Normally I'm like, okay, metrics, whatever, like, but in that case, whenever he's, oh, I'm a bigger creator than you, which was how he was back then. Now I
Mhm.
think it's a bit kind of like funny and maybe a little bit of karma. But yeah, no, there hasn't really been much of interaction between us or anything like that. It's been mostly like dead after I made that second video, I'd say.
I mean, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
And that brings me into asking, as your channel grows, I mean, we saw what happened with Low Tier God.
Mhm.
Do you become afraid at any point of getting doxxed by other people, and or having your private life kind of pretty much attacked, if for the lack of better words?
Oh, naturally. So the difference between me and like, well, my style of YouTube being, I guess, and some other content creators is I'm not your traditional YouTuber. I'm not really based on my personality. People don't know about my interests, my likes, my controversial opinions, or whatever. They just know me for like this kind of style of content. So there is a big separation between my personal life and then YouTube. So I'd say I am a lot more worried because I like having those things very separated, but in the future, I feel like because I'm experienced with being doxxed and what comes of it, and I'm not that much that interesting as a person. I don't do like live streams. Again, I'm not someone that people are like can easily recognize or like be behind a like of. So I'm not too worried if I get doxxed again. People will probably be like, who cares?
Mhm.
I know that I can handle it a lot better, but it does suck if it ever happens in the future though. I'm less worried though.
Okay, that's good to hear. So it's never gotten to the point where you've felt maybe like you need to move or something like that? I know that's super serious, but I just feel like doxing is a really frightening thing.
Oh no, yeah, I already moved. I like
Okay.
but a bunch of the information from the doxing is not current. Yeah, no, that was like that was terrible. That period in like my life was just not very fun at all. But now I feel like I'm like literally at a different location, so the dox isn't current, and I feel a lot safer, I guess.
Okay, cool. Because that's just like terrible. But when it comes to being a YouTuber, growing a following and everything, do you have any sort of advice to those who want to kind of do something similar to you that you've learned as you've grown your channel?
Similar, so like this kind of like documentary content style, I'd say focus on what is relevant. Reader comments, because people really like they give you great feedback and to like really fine tune your content, and keep on trying to make different styles of videos, because you might start off making like documentaries, but you'll find out a different kind of like content will suit you better than what you're currently making. So that's my advice.
That actually brings me to a good point. So you have a good amount, like a great amount of followers. I was surprised that you even responded to me reaching out to you. So, I mean, is there something as you grow your channel that you feel it's important for content creators to kind of, I guess, give back to the little channels?
Oh yeah, no, naturally. Like I wouldn't say I really ever got like a shout out or anything like from a bigger channel, but I definitely got support from bigger channels, especially when going through the doxing. So I definitely want to be that other person from the other side. But it's like, it's fine doing these interviews. I never want to feel like I'm too big or anything like that, because it's like I'm still a person. Everyone else is like still a person. So uh, I'm doing it like not to be like, hey, look, I'm reaching out to like smaller channels. I'm just doing it because like, why not? It's something I enjoy and it's something that people will, I think, will like. So yeah, I think no matter what size, I'll just keep on trying to do it. It's no problem.
That's awesome. Do you ever see yourself, taking your documentaries, say, not off YouTube, like removing them, but maybe submitting like a documentary that's not about a YouTuber to try and get to something other than YouTube, if that makes sense?
Currently, no. Maybe in the future I might have that idea or be there, but I think YouTube is growing like really fast. I think it's the future of media. Like, like social media is like the future of media. So I'm not like I've seen, especially because like doing what I've been doing, like researching all these other creators, I usually see them try to like go beyond YouTube and like Hollywood and these other like avenues, and they rarely succeed. They think they're bigger than YouTube or whatever, but YouTube's already big. So I'm really happy with what I like have, and I just like don't want to ruin it, I guess.
No, I completely agree. You were saying that pretty much when you're picking everything, you kind of look at the metrics, who is current. And I feel like besides say like Keemstar and everything, a big person people like to speak about on YouTube is say someone like Trisha Paytas.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and I did notice that you say left her out. Now I can't remember when you did your H3 documentary, but I noticed that you left her out of that. I mean, was that on purpose? Are you planning on doing a video on her? Kind of something like that.
Oh yeah, it was on purpose, but also, it was also because like the video was too long. There was many things that left out of the H3 video, like him going like really political, like the more political sides of him, the Trisha Paytas, the whole family arc that he's going through. But specifically on the Trisha Paytas thing, I know what Trisha's doing. I think most people might see what Trisha's doing. She just like creates these controversial situations to get more attention, and I think that's what she was doing on the H3 podcast. So if I did that, it would have focused way more on Trisha and explaining what she is as a person than Ethan. And who knows, she might be someone that I can do for a future video. So yeah, I think that did play into it a little bit.
I feel like that video would be about 4 hours long if you did
It'd be
it.
very lengthy. Yeah.
Yes. So I know that you said that right now you're not exactly sure what subject will be for your next video, but do you have any other projects or anything that you would like to promote while we're still in this interview?
No, currently I don't. I think 90% sure that Keemstar is my next video. I'm sure he won't be a fan of it. I'm really not sure how it will come out, what kind of things I have to say, but man, Keemstar is an interesting person who has a lot of history, I guess.
Yeah, recently I think I saw that he's in like a Twitter beef with the Quartering, who is another YouTuber who or not YouTube, yeah, YouTuber, sorry, that
Yeah.
I didn't know about. So that was interesting, kind of seeing the two of them duke it out online.
Oh yeah, yeah. Keemstar like sticks his like hand, and if you go back to like any of my documentaries, you'll see that Keemstar has maybe a minute or so dedicated to him. Like he always sticks his hand in like any internet drama that you can find. So yeah, he's in all my videos. So why not make a dedicated video about him?
I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do to stay current, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
So June, I know that you are a busy person and everything. I don't want to hold you up for too long. So I just want you to kind of promote yourself, promote your channel, promote your social media so that our followers can certainly go over to your content.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and check me out at my channel, Joon the King. Joon is spelled Joon, and then the King. My Twitter is Joon the King One. Those are my two main social media platforms. If you're interested in the rise and falls of other, I guess, YouTubers, and specifically long form content, then I definitely recommend my videos. So yeah, go ahead and check me out there.
Awesome. One last question. Why June the King?
So Joon, it actually like comes from RuneScape. So whenever my brother first introduced me to that game,
Mhm.
I made various like I guess I call them like elementary school accounts where like the names are really stupid and edgy, but because you're watching all these action TV shows. So like I made a bunch of like accounts like Killer 378 or Hunter or whatever, Dragon Slayer, whatever. And whenever I played that game, I'd get to a point where I die and lose all my starter gear. But then so I gave up on RuneScape. But then that's when my brother made an account for me and the alias under the alias of Joon. And with that one, I died at the beginning again and lost all my starter gear, but I decided to just stick it through, and that is my current account.
Okay.
So yeah, it's actually my brother who developed that name. As for Joon the King, I don't know why I added the King. I thought it'd be kind of funny. This is like a crown
Yeah,
of
I
Nana
see
Lee's
that.
rather, yeah. So I'm like, I guess it'll just be my brand or something. Joon, what kind of Joon? Oh, the King. Okay, I know him. Yeah.
Well, thank you, brother, for giving June the King his name.
Yeah.
I certainly have the notifications bell turned on YouTube. I hope everyone who's watching goes to June the King's YouTube page and his social medias and follow him. Thank you for even doing this interview with me. I super appreciate it. And I cannot wait for the next documentary to come out.
Yeah. No, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. And I really hope this next one really delivers. So
I'm sure it will. All right, everyone. Have a good one. Bye.
bye.